GD Sports Network coming back to you. I think this writing was on the
NBA
wall.
presented by American Express. We start our show with breaking news. After 2 seasons at the helm in Los Angeles, head coach Darvin Ham has been dismissed. This was first reported by our Adrian Wojnarowski. Now, Ham had 2 years remaining on his contract. He went 90-74 in the regular season in his tenure with LA, 11-12 in the postseason. He also led the Lakers to the inaugural in-season tournament title.
Boy, I tell you, man. I mean, I'm one of those guys who feels like coaches don't get enough time to do what they really are trying to do. I understand you have an aging LeBron and an aging AD, quite frankly, and year to year you don't know what AD may give you as far as injury is concerned. This year, I think AD played well enough for them to get out of the first round, obviously. I think some of the other pieces around them just let them down on given nights, man. I mean, if you look at Denver, they're a consistent team. Michael Porter Jr. gave you something every night. Jamal Murray gave you something every night. Jokic gave you something every night. And that's pretty much a big three. When it comes to the Raiders, you didn't always have that. And because of that, it became a problem. So, on one night, Austin Reeves might give you a big night. On one night, uh, you might get a decent night from D'Angelo Russell. On another night, in this series, I don't really think Achimura gave you much of anything, but they just weren't ever guaranteed to have something coming from everybody. And then as a collective, their bench basically gave them nothing. And Denver's bench was up to the task. So it's really hard for me to always blame a coach when players' shots just don't go in. It doesn't mean you didn't have clean shots. It doesn't mean you didn't have an opportunity to win. It doesn't mean that I didn't draw up a play that would have worked had you not turned the ball over. I mean, sometimes I just think coaches get a bad rap. Now, that being said, no one ever said Darvin Ham was a championship winning coach. They had a championship winning coach in Frank Vogel, who was 100% a defensive coach. And the defense was top ranked very high throughout his tenure there. And naturally, it didn't last long, but we know that he's a defensive minded coach. When you're a defensive minded coach and you have the ability to play offense, that's a very good scenario. Unfortunately, they felt like he wasn't the guy even after winning a championship. But let's see what else they have to say.
Woj, he is here with us now. And let's just start with, why did the Lakers decide to fire Ham and do it now?
Emily, listen, it almost always gets back to the same thing with any coach's dismissal. That the Lakers think that they can find a better coach. And, this is a job unlike almost any, not just in the NBA, but in professional sports. The scrutiny on that chair and that position is the Lakers head coach is virtually unmatched. And it's difficult, even as a young coach is growing, getting better at the craft. It is a difficult situation for an organization to allow him, to make those improvements that every coach makes as they go along, despite, as you said, 90-74. The first Laker coach who won't return after making the playoffs since Phil Jackson in 2011.
Right.
But again.
So again, I mean, you hear that. They're looking for a quote-unquote better coach. Quote-unquote better coaches are probably not leaving their team because they're in the playoffs. He made the playoffs. So unless you're looking for a better coach from a worser team, or you're obviously hoping for a assistant coach, I understand that. But you're not getting another head coach off of any of the teams that are better than you. So as a head coach, experience-wise, you probably have a decent coach. Now, some of the assistants that deserve opportunities, he was an assistant just 2 years ago that deserved an opportunity, and you're getting rid of him already. So sometimes I just feel like, there's a very short leash, and I understand when you're paying an organization or you are an organization who's paying people to be in positions, players and coaches, to win championships. The Lakers are the standard. 17 championships, tied with Boston. And Boston looks like they could be in play for a championship this year, potentially. So yes, you don't want to fall behind that standard. other than that, man, I mean, we'll see what happens. And I'm not saying a new coach can't come in and win a championship with the Lakers next year. It's possible. But Vogel did that, and he still got fired. So I don't know sometimes what they're looking for. I do firmly believe that they had a decent enough team. But if you want my truth, and I'm going to end this video, the Lakers haven't had a chance to win a championship since they let go of Dwight Howard. Now, there's a hot take for you, right? Reality, though, he could have banged with Jokic in a way that no one else on their team can. Every time they played in the bubble, and we can talk about the bubble or whatever else, but it doesn't matter what location you're in. If in the reality of the situation is you were able to keep Jokic off of spots he wanted to get to because he physically could not dominate Dwight Howard. So, all jokes aside, they haven't had a big since then. When they won a championship, they had Dwight Howard and they had JaVale McGee. Since then, they have not had a big. Not that they have kept around, okay? Because we had a little stint where we had a big for a moment in Andre Drummond, excuse me. But other than that, I mean, it's like they haven't had a big. They want to go with this stretch five, smaller center, and that works for a lot of the season. But when you come up against Jokic, it does not work. And if you're in the West and you want to get out of the West, you're going to have to beat Denver. So they need to consider that. But give me your comments down in the comment section. Let me know what you're thinking. Darvin Ham is out as the Lakers coach, and we need to see where we go next.